This is the AM News, starting with hundreds of squatters at a location known as ECOMOG in Circle have been left homeless after a fire engulfed their makeshift stalls, marking the second blaze to ravage the area in just 2 years. With their meager earnings, they had barely managed to secure shelter, but now find themselves back at square one, having lost everything to the flames. As they grapple with their sudden displacement, they appeal to the government and compassionate individuals for assistance in rebuilding their lives. My colleague Michael Ashali was there and reports now.
Ashes blanketed the ground, while scattered flames flickered amidst the charred remains. Smoke hung heavy in the air, as remnants of the fire that razed more than 100 structures at a place popularly called ECOMOG near Circle Bus Terminal in Accra remained visible. Thomas was there when it all started.
We are there, we see fire is burning. Then told me that one of girl was cooking inside the room, was using gas.
Okay.
Where he forget that he was cooking.
Okay.
Then the fire got.
Okay.
It be that I hear from the girls.
Previously living on the edge in an unsanctioned area, these squatters are now homeless after the fire razed their makeshift stalls.
I have a lot, my fridge, my things, and my money too.
Zara James is a Nigerian. She came to Ghana to make ends meet, but has lost it all to the inferno.
How much was in there?
31.
Come again?
31 million.
31 million Ghana cedis?
Yes.
Or just 3,100 cedis?
3,100 cedis.
Interesting. And what was that money to you?
It means a lot, but I don't have anything to say.
So you came to Ghana for what exactly?
To hustle, make money, and make my family proud.
How does this make you feel?
Heartbroken.
What are you going to do now?
I don't have any option.
Dennis Anthony has called this place home for just 7 months, forced to settle here after enduring a significant setback in life.
Oh, I've been here just only 7 months here. I've been here just only months. I couldn't take any of my things. By the time I came back, I went to work, I came back. My place was already burned out. It has reached different place. So as you are looking at me right now, I don't even have anything to wear. It's only this my down that I'm wearing. Yeah. The reason why we are staying here is just for the me time. You know, we always also to save money and other things. But someone will be at the back saying this because he is not living here, and he's even living in a better place in a good condition. So because we don't have any place to go, we also come to shelter for here to save money and other things.
For nearly 4 hours and at least 5 fire tenders, personnel from the Ghana National Fire Service managed to bring the fire under control. Assistant Division Officer of the PR Department of the Fire Service, ADO1 Alex Kinati, says investigations will commence shortly.
The cause is not readily known yet. There might be different factors or causes of the fire. It could be illegal connection, it could be unattended cooking, it could even be arson as a result of territorial conflict. So we can't pinpoint for now. Once we are done, we'll do what we call salvaging and our investigation, and then we should be able to come up with a conclusive investigation at the end of the day.
Fire outbreaks here have become a regular occurrence. In February 2022, flames razed all the stalls in the area. The mayor of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly and the MCE for Korle Klottey inspected the site and ordered for all squatters to be evicted.
We do not want to see any structure, any activity going on here.
We advise them to immediately look for alternative places move to.
That order was flouted. For many of them, it's back to square one. After struggling to find shelter with their meager earnings, they have lost everything to the fire. They remain hopeful and are pleading for help.
But we are praying, hoping government should help us. That is the only thing I have to say.
Okay, great. But I didn't ask you, what really do you do here whilst you're trying to hustle?
I don't have anything at all. I don't have anything left, but I have God.
The question I want to ask the government is that, is it going to still continue letting people stay in here.
As the smoke clears and the extent of their losses sink in, the immediate challenge for many is finding shelter under the looming rain clouds and securing their next meal.
What they want right now is for government to come to their aid. For Joy News, Michael Ashale.
Now, after months of being driven away by the stench of drains choked with filth at the Aboabo lorry station, traders and drivers heaved a sigh of relief as Joy News filth exhibition team got the KMA to start a major cleanup exercise of drains in the area. Joy News in its recent filth exhibition series uncovered the drain filled with heavy waste posing health risk from its unpleasant stench. Clinton Yabwa provides a special report on the recent cleanup efforts by Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly at the Aboabo lorry station, a direct result of our filth exhibition series. Here's the report.
Residents and traders at the busy Aboabo Old Railway Lorry Station in Kumasi lived in a demeaning sanitation environment engulfed by filth from a major drain in the trading space. Indiscriminate disposal of solid waste into drains in the area left the environment drenched in stench and squalor. This big drain was a collection of garbage, including food packaging, empty plastic bottles and glasses, rotten food scraps, and fruit peels dumped over time. The collected filth came from households in Roman Hill, Ashdown, and Aboabo. The Joy News team highlighted this situation in its flagship series, Filth Exhibition. Now traders, drivers, and residents beam with joy as the reportage yields momentous results. Officials of the KMA have begun a week-long cleanup and distilling of filth-infested drainages in some selected areas, including the Aboabo lorry station main drain. A garbage container now occupies the spot to contain trash. Traders, drivers, and residents hope the new development will improve sanitary conditions in the area. Whilst they admonish authorities to now tackle the crisis from the source, the traders are pledging to serve as watchdogs to deal with perpetrators. Because police station. And I saw the pine and the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly Chief Executive Samuel Pine, in a recent interview with Joy News, disclosed the Assembly lost over 30,000 cedis to the clearing of waste from drains in the Wayek area in Akwetia Line. The area was also featured in the Filth Exhibition series. According to KMA Environmental Director Yao Ofori, these areas, along with other major areas in Adum, will be cleared in a week. He indicated the reportage and intensity of the situation fast-tracked the Assembly's response.
The setting of gutter and drains is part of our work, and we've been doing it every day, every time, especially during the rainy season. Now, we had a report that your outfit took a picture of what actually happened at the Aboabo. Basically, it's not expected for you to even call it before we do that. We'll be doing it, and then when the picture was showing around the television and other areas, we just move quickly to start doing the work. We are still on it because looking at the nature of the drain, in fact, it's not easy for us. It's not easy task. It was my thinking that we'll finish maybe today, so that we'll start working on the one at the Dum, which is another area. We don't want something to happen.
Coordinating Director of the KMA, Francis Jura Dako, says it is hard to identify the perpetrators, adding the Assembly is on its way to ensuring effective enforcement of environmental bylaws.
When you abate and you are arrested, you are put before the law court for the law to deal with you. Yeah. But just that you don't see these people dumping the waste into the drains. That's the only challenge. But like we said, we are also trying to make sure that at least we put these waste bins, the big ones that you see in a room, we put them at vantage points for people to put the waste separate. We have the two types, separate from the plastics and the other waste products. That's what we are trying to do with the project that we have bring on board called HORES.
Sorry, the project? It's
called HORES. Holistic Reinforcement Environmental Sanitation.
Okay. Reporting for Joy News, my name is Clinton Yabua.
Now to other developments. She was dropped off at the WA ONA transport station from Techiman on May 17th this year. She was pregnant and deaf. The yet-to-be-identified lady is unable to communicate with a sign language. Joy News Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports that the WA Municipal Department of Social Welfare and Community Development Department, who for the past 3 weeks have taken custody of the young lady, is calling on the general public to help locate her family for integration.
According to the WA Municipal Director of the Department of Social Welfare and Community Development, Boy Gilbert, the lady, who is yet to be identified, is believed to be around 20 years and pregnant.
Yes, she was found at the WA OA station. That's where it's OA bus that brought her from Techiman. And that was where she was, nowhere to go. So some natives of WA, they know the Deaf Association president, Mr. Mumin Salifu. They call him, they WhatsApp him, and he came. He now came and picked her with the support of one of his colleagues. They brought her to our social welfare department. So we also instructed that it should be sent to the DOPSU. That was where it was sent on 17th. She was sent on 17th May 2024. Then the police prepared an extract and then handed over to social welfare. Since then, he has been with the Department of Social Welfare and the Gender Department. We have been taking care of her for this number of days or number of weeks that she has been with us.
She has hearing impairment. Whereas more, she is unable to communicate with a sign language, and hence the difficulty in getting information about her.
Even as of now, she cannot identify herself. We don't know her name. We don't know where she is coming from. She cannot even do the local sign language. Instead of to do the normal sign language, she cannot communicate in any form. So it's difficult for the Social Welfare Office and the Gender Department to trace where this lady is coming from. So we want to use this platform, Joy News, to appeal to everybody, the general public and NGOs and corporate societies, institutions. If they have seen this picture, they should try. And if anybody knows the whereabouts of this lady, or if they can identify her, they should try and get in contact with any nearest police station or any social welfare office or any gender office. If they get there, the information will reach to the DOPSU in WA or social welfare in WA, where we can be able to locate the relatives, and then we can do the reunification so that the lady can go back to her parents or her relatives so that he can be able to live a normal life in society.
He provided mobile numbers that could be used to get in contact with them.
So my number is 024-833-1373, 020-5760-739. Any of this number you can call. If you call, we'll get.
Whilst they are looking for her relatives and close family members, they also appeal to benevolent organizations and individuals to come to their aid because the department is at their wit ends.
In fact, it's not easy. She has been with us. She has been with us for the past almost getting to 1 month now. Feeding is difficult. Other things, other basic necessities, housekeeping issue. We are also appealing to NGOs, philanthropists, civil society organizations, if they can come to our aid to support us to take care of this young lady who is highly pregnant and cannot be, the parents or the relatives cannot be traced. So we are appealing to NGOs and general public to come to her aid so that we can find a better place for her. And also, even we have a mind of putting her in a vocation where she can learn a trade. But for now, we want to keep her and look for the relatives there. We can now take a decision as to what she can do to help herself and a living for herself.
The one municipal director of the Department of Social Welfare and Community Development says they are in talks with an orphanage so that she could be moved there for better protection.
We want to put her in an orphanage while we trace the family, because where we kept her is a shelter home. We only have a day watchman, we don't have a night watchman, and leaving her alone there is very dangerous. So for now, we have spoken with a manager of an orphanage who is willing to receive her. There she will be there while this information is going on air. If we are able to find the relatives, then we can go anytime and pick her so that we can do the reunification or the repatriation.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
Now, the overlord of Dagbon, Yana Abukari II, has banned the use of firearms in his kingdom. The Yana said the ban has become necessary to save the good image of his kingdom. The Yana Abukari II said he was aware of the brazen impunity by some youth in carrying sophisticated weapons and live ammunition at various traditional and cultural events, especially during the installation of regents. The overlord disclosed this when he met all 36 paramount chiefs and sub-chiefs in Yendi.
The overlord raised the concern in a speech read on his behalf by the registrar of the Dagbon Traditional Council, Al-Hassan Fatau, at the emergency handing over of the newly built houses for affected victims of the Gbewa Palace redevelopment project. The Yana condemned the act of lawlessness by some of his chiefs who are involved in the practice.
Nanama, this meeting is called as a matter of agency to discuss and take steps towards saving the good image of the kingdom, which is gradually being threatened through proliferation, misuse and abuse of small arms and light weapons by the youth during traditional and cultural events. I have been reliably informed by my elders, some security personnel and other peace-loving citizens about the brazen impunity by some youths in carrying sophisticated weapons and live ammunition at various traditional and cultural events, especially during installation of regents.
The Northern Regional Minister, Shani Al-Hassan Shaibu, assured the overlord they will carry through his request.
An announcement that has gladdened my soul, because it has always been a worry for RECSEC. And RECSEC's challenge was for us to infringe on the rights of the chiefs and people of Dagbon. Now that the overlord has spoken, I think it gives us the power to act in a certain manner to make sure that Dagbon is rid of small arms and light weapons.
On the resettlement of people who have been affected by the reconstruction of the new Gbewa Palace, and Danyana said 18 houses have so far been constructed.
Nanama, I am happy to inform you that 18 houses have so far been constructed for the affected families at the Gbewa Palace reconstruction site for relocation here in Yendi. We are here today to formally hand over this unprecedented project to the affected families who have shown patriotism and love for the Dagbon Kingdom.
The chairman of the Dagbon Development Committee, the Kugana Abdullahi Adam II, who spoke before the handing over of the keys, called for a peaceful coexistence.
Today, we are going to hand over their keys, their site plans, everything to them. And I just say that we want them to sit here peacefully.
Some of the beneficiaries thanked the Dagbon Development Committee for their support. They have done a yeoman's job and everybody is happy. There is everything in there, their toilets, their washrooms, and we have been handed over our land documents.
Well, I'll say that we are very grateful what the Overlord is doing for us. But to be frank, most of our compensations, we are not able to get it.
All African countries are being urged to embrace the United Nations Treaty, seeking to comprehensively ban the use of nuclear weapons around the world. Although 187 countries agree in principle and have been signed on to the treaty that never again should nuclear explosions take place anywhere around the world, a binding law is yet to come into force because some 44 specific countries are yet to ratify the treaty. Blessed Soga has more in the following report, where he sits down with Executive Director of the CTBTO, Dr. Robert Floyd, who is also paying an official visit to Ghana.
Nuclear weapons back in public consciousness. These are the emerging concerns which were brought to the fore at the United Nations Security Council a couple of weeks ago.
Between 1945 and 1996, when the CTBT was opened for signature, over 2,000 nuclear tests were conducted.
But now the threat is ever increasing, prompted by new wars and conflict. There is, however, hope for experts who believe that the long-standing Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty will de-escalate the tension. Dr. Robert Floyd is Executive Secretary of the CTBTO.
Is where there's threats of use, and we thought that would never happen again. There's also an accumulation of a large amount of highly enriched uranium in another state than the material that could be used to make a nuclear weapon. And there's also the risk that North Korea could test a nuclear weapon again. So three different areas of concern.
Although the treaty has 187 signatories, some specific countries, including China, the United States and Russia, which recently de-ratified, are required to domesticate the law in order to make it enforceable.
Two of the world superpowers, the US and Russia, of course, not going ahead with the ratifications. Russia made a step forward and then made one step back, as you described it, at the United Nations Security Council. Do you feel that these two countries are willing to come on board and to put an end to the use of nuclear weapons?
If we look at the 5 countries that are considered nuclear weapon states, then of those, there are 2 that have signed and ratified the treaty. That is France and the United Kingdom. The other 3, the Russian Federation, China, and the United States of America, have all signed but not yet ratified. As you said, the Russian Federation de-ratified last year, which was deeply regrettable. But I do believe that when the United States and China can find a way to move forward, the Russian Federation will move with them. And this is about geostrategic issues, etc. All of those countries are in full support for the object and purpose of this treaty, and because they've signed it.
In the meantime, the top executive of the CTBTO is on an official tour of Africa, seeking to build a coalition of countries across the continent that will give further boost to the international law.
But why should people worry, particularly in Africa? Well, it was in Africa that nuclear weapons were tested on the territory of various states in Africa. And those states still bear the marks of that in their environment and the health of their people. And that is something which I think has affected deep into the heart of Africa, and why Africa stands almost completely united with this treaty to call for a total ban on nuclear weapon testing.
Coming up next is Business Updates with Benjamin Akapo.
Well, thanks for staying. In our first business story, the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abu-Jinapor, has called for a concerted effort in the fight against illicit financial flows in the mining sector. Ghana, on the average, loses $1 billion annually to illicit financial flows in the extractive sector. Now, speaking at the 2024 West African Mining and Power Conference and Exhibition program, he urged relevant stakeholders to support government in the fight.
Distinguished guests, we must continue to work together to overcome the challenges that confront the industry, including the issue of illicit financial flows. While the recent report by Integrated Social Development Center, ISODIC, and the Global Financial Integrity, that our country loses millions of dollars through illicit financial flows in the gold industry is disturbing. It confirms previous reports that the extractive sector continues to be the major contributor to illicit financial flows from the African continent. As we work to drive sustainable investment opportunities, we must ensure that these investments benefit host communities who bear the immediate consequences of our operations.
In our next story, the Ghana Stock Exchange recorded 4 price gainers in May. According to the summary of May 2024 market activities, the top price gainers for the month were New Gold, GCB Bank, MTN Ghana, and Total Energies. There's more in this report.
The composite index gained 1.81% in May to record a new all-time high, bringing its year-to-date gain to 19.92%. The Ghana Stock Exchange Financial Stock Index also recorded a 0.41% increase, resulting in a year-to-date gain of 7.95%. Following its listing in May 2024, Atlantic Lithium added 2.85 billion cedis to increase the value of all stocks listed on the market to 84.02 billion cedis by the end of the month. The Ghana Stock Exchange's fixed income market saw traded volumes of 10.39 billion during May, double the volume traded in May 2023. Treasury bills accounted for 74.58% of volumes traded, whilst government bonds contributed 24.70%, with corporate bonds making up the remaining 0.77%. The value of all securities on the market stood at 328 billion cedis at the end of the month.
And on that buoyant note, we cap off the business updates. Handing over back to you, Sweetie Abochi.
Right, so that's how we're wrapping up for AM News. Coming up next is the newspaper review segment. Stay with us.